What's going on, guys? Astra just had their earnings, and I'll leave you guys a link below if you want to listen to the full earnings call. It is roughly an hour long, but I'm going to go over a few key points here, and this first clip is going to feature their multi-phase plan. So let's roll it, and I'll catch up with you in a second.
Since our last quarterly operating results call, Astra conducted 3 launches from 2 different spaceports, successfully delivering 23 payloads to orbit for our customers, including our first successful orbital mission for the United States Space Force. Looking forward to our next launches, we're honored to have the opportunity to serve NASA as we prepare for a multi-launch campaign out of Cape Canaveral to deploy the NASA Tropics constellation. After reviewing our accomplishments in 2021, I'd like to take a closer look at how these milestones that we've achieved since the last quarterly earnings results demonstrate measurable progress towards our objective of daily space delivery. With hundreds of small satellite constellations in development and over a dozen companies that have gone public, collectively raising over $20 billion in the last year, we see launch as the critical enabler of not only Astra's long-term plans, but of these new space tech companies. That's why in phase 1 of our strategy, launch services, we're focused on dramatically increasing access to space by scaling our launch services business as quickly as possible. In phase 2, space technology, Astra plans to develop, license, or acquire core space technologies that will be productized and incorporated into our rockets, satellites, and other infrastructure that will be used to deliver space services. Core technologies include propulsion and solar power. And the acquisition of Apollo Fusion last summer is one example of us acquiring and productizing a core space technology. The vast majority of the value in the trillion-dollar space economy forecasted in 2040 is in space services. Just as communication services and a new generation of geospatial data services, we believe that the future space applications will be powered by the space equivalent of today's earthbound cloud data centers. So in phase 3, space services, we plan to vertically integrate Astra's core technologies into an Astra constellation, which will be optimally launched and maintained by the Astra launch system, allowing us to power the space economy. In addition to scale, Astra has focused on mobility and automation. Our entire launch system is mobile and can be easily and discreetly transported anywhere in the world in a standard ISO shipping container by truck, ship, rail, or cargo aircraft. What's more, a very small team, currently just 6 people, can deploy an entire launch system and be ready to launch in less than 7 days. We demonstrated this capability earlier this quarter when we conducted our first launch out of Cape Canaveral for NASA. Astra's ability to launch quickly from anywhere a shipping container can be delivered allows us to expand our launch services to more licensed locations without fixed capital investments. Our mobile launch system also enables our allies, governments that do not have access to space, to rapidly establish their own sovereign space launch capabilities by partnering with Astra. Finally, our unique ability to mass produce and permanently and discreetly deploy turnkey launch systems could play an essential role in enabling America's strategy for a resilient national security space infrastructure. At Astra, we're focused on delivering for our customers. And with over 50 launches under contract and a $160 million backlog, our customers have spoken. They want more launches, more frequently, from more locations at a lower per launch cost. Our long-term goal remains to reliably launch daily, and a 33-day period between our last 2 launches demonstrates progress towards that goal.
Now, their next clip touches on their recent acquisition in July, Apollo Fusion, and it also goes into their next launch system, Rocket 4. Listen up.
I'd like to highlight a few events that have occurred so far this year in 2022. In January, NASA awarded Astra the venture class acquisition of dedicated rideshare contract, along with other launch providers, which represents a $300 million opportunity over the next 5 years. 2 weeks ago, our successful launch from Kodiak, Alaska was a huge milestone for Astra, as it marked the first delivery of 22 customer payloads into orbit 33 days after our prior flight, which is less than half the cycle time we achieved in our prior 2 launches. I continue to be impressed with the speed, passion, and diligence of our team as they continue to improve our production and launch operations, as well as invest in improving the reliability and future capabilities of our launch system. Our acquisition of Apollo Fusion in July marked the first core technology acquisition, expanding our launch capabilities by giving customers the ability to reach or maintain orbits with efficient electric propulsion systems, and will be a key component of Astra's future satellites. In August, our first thruster ignited on orbit, and its continued operation has expanded our sales opportunities in both commercial and government markets. we're incredibly pleased with how well the Astra spacecraft engine has been received by the market. In August, we launched LV0006, the first serial number of our upgraded version of our launch system that we completed over the first half of the year. The flight had an anomaly at liftoff, leading to a single engine shutdown, but the rocket was able to autonomously recover and perform most of the first stage burn prior to being shut down by the range. Looking ahead to 2022, the Astra team is excited to test our ability to execute a rapid launch cadence with the upcoming Tropics launches. As our first launch system 1.0 design has stabilized and we focused more on production and launch operations, our engineering teams are busy increasingly spending their time on the next version of our launch system, which we are designing to be more capable, more scalable than the current system. And we expect to share more details about this upgrade in the next few months.
Now, as for financials, Astra ended the quarter with $325 million in cash and cash equivalents. They beat their EPS by 5 cents. They're at negative 20 cents. Still not profitable. So remember, there's definitely a lot of risk with this one. They probably won't be profitable for potentially a year or two, maybe even more. And their capex was a bit high, but this was mainly due to their Alameda facility, and that does explain the higher capex. However, looking into the future, they did give future guidance. They gave not a full year, but just the next quarter future guidance, and that capex should improve. But let's get into it.
For modeling purposes, fourth quarter stock-based compensation expense breaks down as follows. Research and development, $8.3 million, G&A, $10.8 million, and sales and marketing, $150,000. Fourth quarter capital expenditures were $19.6 million and primarily related to the expansion of our Alameda manufacturing facility. As Chris mentioned, we have moved our operations into the expanded facility, which has increased space for our production floor. Given this, we expect capital expenditures to moderate in Q1 before increasing for the remainder of 2022 as we purchase and integrate automation equipment for launch manufacturing and expand our testing capability. We ended the quarter with cash and cash equivalents of $325.0 million. For the first quarter, we currently expect an adjusted EBITDA loss to be between $44 million and $48 million, depreciation and amortization to be between $1.9 million and $2 million, stock-based compensation to be between $20 million and $25 million, cash taxes are forecasted to be 0, basic shares outstanding to be between 263 million and 265 million shares, capital expenditures to be between $10 million and $15 million. The first quarter increase in our share count is largely due to new shares attributable to our redemption of public and private warrants. We redeemed the 15.3 million warrants for 3.8 million new common shares and $58,608 in cash. We exercised Astra's right to redeem the warrants prior to their expiration to limit potentially greater dilution in the future. All 15.3 million warrants were related to our merger with Helicity, and the redemption was effective on December 27, 2021. We expect calendar year 2022 to be a transformational year as Astra continues expanding our product roadmap and scaling production. During the year, we expect to embark on a product cycle transition to our next generation launch system, Rocket 4, as well as expand space product offerings led by Astra spacecraft engines. Interest in our launch services is growing internationally with governments and regulators pursuing policies to bring launch capabilities within their jurisdictions. Governments are showing a desire to sponsor spaceports, domestic satellite operators, and launch services. Backlog increased to $160 million at the end of 2021, up 7% from the $150 million, which we announced in February of 2021. Note that during 2021, our backlog was impacted by the attrition of one customer due to market consolidation. The customer acquisition by another space company resulted in a decrease of $30 million to our previously stated backlog. Excluding this reduction, our backlog increased $40 million or 33%. We are pleased with the growth of our backlog as we continue to scale.
All right, guys, now I forgot to mention in the beginning that their Investor Day is coming up very soon, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. I put out daily videos, and next up we're going to get into the Q&A section and 2 portions that I thought were worth listening to.
I want to just reiterate what Astra has done is we have demonstrated in 5 years to make 3 generations of rockets. And I think with rocket 4.0, it'll be 4. And so we're averaging, a new rocket where we've been able to respond to the market. We've been able to factor in the changes in our customers' requirements, our scale, roughly every 12 to 18 months. And that's not going to stop. What I can tell you is that the factory is producing about a rocket a month. And we are about to go and launch the Tropics mission for NASA, which will be 3 more launches. And the plan is to start those launches this quarter or this coming quarter. And after that, we have some more launches. But I think the question will be, and we're going to have this big analyst investor day here next quarter as well. Things are going pretty well with Launch System 2.0, and I actually want to give the team the opportunity to switch over to start doing the test flights, and because we have a lot of demand for a higher capacity, higher volume production rate rocket. And so I think what we're looking at is showing the market that we can achieve a roughly monthly launch rate. And with the launch just 33 days after the previous launch, we're really seeing the right indications that the company has the capability. Keep in mind those 2 launches were actually conducted from 2 different launch systems deployed simultaneously at 2 different spaceports. So we're going to go and we're going to continue to demonstrate that capability with the Tropics missions. And then at some point later this year, we're going to cut the production line over to start developing or to start producing the Rocket 4s.
Hope you guys enjoyed the cut up earnings call. Now I'm going to make an assumption here that by the end of 2022, we'll be very close to bi-weekly launches, and maybe by mid 2023, if not late 2023, working on weekly launches. But what are your thoughts? Make sure you leave a comment below, and don't forget to check out the description for some free crypto and stocks. Thanks as always, guys, and see you next time.